Bismillah. My dear sisters, there comes a moment in every woman's life when the noise fades, when the people she relied on are no longer there, when expectations collapse, when the heart feels tired, heavy, and alone. And it is exactly at that moment, not before, that her true power begins. Because when a woman has only Allah, she discovers something extraordinary. She was never alone to begin with. You see, as long as we depend on people, we will always feel unstable. People change, feelings change, promises break, support fades. But Allah never changes. When a woman reaches a point where she says, Ya Allah, I have no one but you, that is not weakness, that is strength in its purest form. Because now her heart is connected to the one who controls hearts. Now her tears are seen by the one who never ignores. Now her dua is heard by the one who answers in the best way, even when she doesn't understand how. Sometimes Allah removes people from your life not to hurt you, but to protect you. Sometimes He isolates you so you can finally hear Him. And sometimes He breaks your reliance on creation so that you return to the Creator. A woman who stands with Allah does not need validation from the world. She knows her worth because Allah honored her. She walks with dignity because Allah watches her. She remains patient because she trusts His timing. And when hardship comes, as it always does, she doesn't collapse. She raises her hands. She lowers her head in sujood. She whispers what her heart cannot explain because she knows this secret. If Allah is with me, then who can truly harm me? My dear sisters, strength is not in being loud. Power is not in proving yourself. Real power is in tawakkul, complete trust in Allah. When you have Allah, you have peace. When you have Allah, you have protection. When you have Allah, you have everything, even if it looks like you have nothing. So hold on to Him, run back to Him, rely on Him completely. Because a woman's true power begins the day she realizes, Allah is enough for me, and He is the best of all planners. There comes a time in a woman's life when she realizes that relying on people will always leave her disappointed. Not because people are bad, but because they are human. They forget, they change, they become busy, they grow distant, and sometimes they simply cannot give what the heart is seeking. A woman may place her hopes in family, friends, or even someone she loves deeply, only to discover that human support has limits. And when those limits are reached, the heart feels heavy, confused, and broken. But it is in that very moment that Allah gently teaches her one of the most powerful lessons of life. True strength begins when reliance shifts from people to Him alone. When a woman learns to depend on Allah, she no longer panics when doors close because she trusts the one who controls all doors. She no longer feels abandoned when people walk away because she knows the one who never leaves. Her heart becomes calmer, not because life becomes easier, but because her trust becomes stronger. She understands that people can fail her without meaning harm, but Allah never fails His servant, not once, not ever. Relying on Allah does not mean we stop loving people or stop seeking support. It means we stop attaching our peace to them. It means we stop expecting from creation what only the Creator can provide. Because no human can heal a heart the way Allah does. No human can replace the comfort that comes from knowing Allah sees every tear, hears every silent prayer, and understands every pain that words cannot express. When a woman truly relies on Allah, she becomes emotionally strong. She no longer begs for attention, approval, or validation. She knows her worth comes from being a servant of Allah, not from how others treat her. Her confidence grows, not because life is perfect, but because she trusts that whatever Allah chooses for her is better than what she could choose for herself. Even in hardship, her heart whispers, this too is from Allah, and there is goodness in it. Such reliance brings a quiet strength. A strength that allows her to stand alone without feeling lonely. A strength that allows her to forgive, to let go, to move forward without bitterness. A strength that reminds her that if Allah is taking something away, it is only to replace it with something better or to protect her from something worse. And when she finally understands this, her life changes, her worries lessen. Her heart feels lighter. She stops chasing people and starts chasing closeness to Allah. She finds peace in prayer, comfort in remembrance, and hope in every difficulty. Because now she knows the truth. When Allah is the one she relies on, she will never be weak, never truly lost, and never alone. There are moments in life when everything familiar begins to slip away. The people you thought would always stay slowly drift. The support you depended on disappears. The plans you built your hopes around fall apart. And in those moments, the heart feels exposed and vulnerable, as if the ground beneath you has been pulled away. It is in these moments that many people feel lost, forgotten, or even abandoned. But what they do not realize is that this is often the very moment Allah is drawing them closer to Him. When worldly support fades, it does not mean you are being punished. It often means you are being redirected. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, sometimes removes the crutches we lean on so that we learn how to stand with His help alone. Because as long as we feel secure through people, we rarely turn fully to Him. But when everything else disappears, the heart finally looks upward and realizes that Allah has been there all along. There is a special kind of peace that only comes when you have no one left to rely on except Allah. It is a quiet peace, not loud or dramatic, but deeply rooted. A peace that settles into the heart when you realize that the one controlling your life is more merciful than anyone you could ever depend on. When you reach that point, you stop questioning why people left and start thanking Allah for staying. Worldly support is temporary by nature. People get tired, situations change, circumstances shift without warning. Even the strongest relationships are fragile compared to the eternal strength of Allah's care. But divine support is different. It does not weaken with time. It does not disappear when you make mistakes. It does not walk away when you fall. Allah's support finds you in your darkest nights and lifts you in ways you never expected. Many people only discover their inner strength after they have been left with nothing but Allah. And in that loneliness, something beautiful happens. They begin to talk to Him more. They turn to prayer with sincerity. They find comfort in supplication. They realize that even when no one understands their pain, Allah understands it completely. Every tear, every silent cry, every broken thought is known to Him. And slowly, without even noticing, the heart becomes stronger. What once felt unbearable becomes manageable. What once caused fear now builds trust. Because the heart learns a powerful truth. If Allah carried me through this, He will carry me through anything. When a woman reaches this stage, she no longer fears losing people or things. She knows that what is meant for her will never miss her. And what leaves was never meant to stay. Her reliance on Allah gives her a strength that cannot be shaken by circumstances or opinions. She walks with confidence, not because life is easy, but because she knows who is guiding her path. And that is the beauty of divine support. When everything else fades, Allah remains. When all doors close, His door stays open. And when a woman realizes that Allah alone is enough, she discovers a strength that no hards, hip can ever take away. In a world that constantly measures a woman by her appearance, her achievements, her relationships, or her social status, it becomes easy for her to forget where her true worth comes from. Society places labels so quickly, successful or unsuccessful, married or unmarried, admired or overlooked, and slowly, without realizing it, a woman may begin to define herself by these shifting standards. But the truth is far deeper and far more beautiful than anything the world can offer. A woman's worth has never been determined by people's opinions. It has always been defined by her connection with Allah. When a woman understands this, something inside her changes. She no longer chases validation from people who themselves are searching for validation. She no longer feels broken because she doesn't fit into someone else's expectations. She realizes that the one who created her did so with purpose, dignity, and honor. Allah did not create her by mistake, nor did He measure her value by worldly success or approval. Her worth was established the moment Allah breathed life into her. This understanding brings freedom. Freedom from comparing herself to others. Freedom from feeling less because someone else seems to have more. Freedom from the pressure to constantly prove herself. When her heart is connected to Allah, she understands that being His servant is the greatest honor she could ever have. That alone is enough. A woman who knows her worth in the sight of Allah carries herself differently. She does not beg for love because she knows she is already loved by the Most Merciful. She does not lower her standards to be accepted because she knows Allah raised her status through faith and dignity. She does not lose herself trying to please people because her greatest concern is pleasing the one who created her. Even in hardship, this understanding protects her heart. When life becomes difficult and people fail to see her effort, she remembers that Allah sees everything. When her sacrifices go unnoticed, she finds comfort in knowing that Allah never overlooks sincerity. When she feels misunderstood, she turns to the one who understands her better than she understands herself. And this connection gives her strength that cannot be taken away. Strength to walk away from what harms her. Strength to remain patient when tested. Strength to hold on to her values in a world that constantly pressures her to compromise them. She no longer measures success by applause or approval, but by how close she is to Allah at the end of the day. This is where true confidence is born, not from beauty, status, or recognition, but from certainty. Certainty that Allah chose her path wisely, certainty that every struggle has meaning, certainty that her worth is not up for debate because it was defined by the Creator Himself. When a woman lives with this awareness, she becomes unshakable. Criticism no longer destroys her. Loneliness no longer breaks her. She walks through life with quiet strength, knowing that even if the world turns away, Allah never will. And in that realization, she finds a sense of dignity, peace, and power that no one can take from her. There are moments in life when a woman looks at her struggles and wonders why everything feels so heavy. She prays, she tries, she remains patient, yet the difficulties continue. In those moments, it is easy to believe that hardship is a sign of punishment or rejection, but in reality, many of the trials we face are not meant to break us. They are meant to bring us closer to Allah in ways comfort never could. Trials have a way of stripping away illusions. When life is easy, the heart often becomes distracted. We rely on our own strength, our plans, and the people around us. But when hardship arrives, suddenly all of that feels fragile. And it is then that the heart turns sincerely to Allah, not with routine words, but with deep, honest supplication, not with pride, but with humility. That is when the connection becomes real. Allah does not test a servant to destroy them. He tests them to refine them. Just as fire purifies gold, trials purify the heart. Through pain, a woman learns patience. Through loss, she learns reliance. Through delay, she learns trust. And through hardship, she learns the meaning of turning to Allah with complete sincerity. What may feel like a breaking point is often the beginning of spiritual growth. Sometimes Allah sends difficulty not because He is displeased, but because He wants to raise a person's rank. He wants to soften a heart, to remove arrogance, to strengthen faith. A woman may not understand in the moment why her prayers are answered with silence, or why her path seems harder than others. But later she realizes that those very moments shaped her into someone stronger, wiser, and closer to Allah. Trials also teach a woman the value of patience. Not the kind that simply waits, but the kind that trusts. The kind that says, Ya Allah, I don't understand your plan, but I trust you completely. That kind of patience transforms pain into peace. It reminds the heart that Allah sees what others do not, and that every tear shed in hardship is counted and rewarded. There is also a hidden mercy in hardship. It brings a person back to what truly matters. It reminds her that this world is temporary, that comfort is not guaranteed, and that the real home is with Allah. Through trials, attachments to this world loosen, and attachment to Allah grows stronger. And that closeness becomes a source of strength that no ease could ever provide. When a woman looks back at her life, she often realizes that the moments that brought her closest to Allah were not the happiest ones, but the hardest. The nights she cried in prayer, the moments she felt completely alone, the times she had nothing left but faith, those were the moments that shaped her soul. So when trials come, she no longer sees them as punishments. She sees them as invitations. Invitations to grow, to reflect, to return to Allah with a heart full of humility and trust. And through that journey, she discovers a powerful truth. Sometimes Allah breaks a person's comfort only to build their connection with Him. And that connection becomes the greatest gift of all. There comes a moment in a woman's life when fear no longer controls her the way it once did. Not because her problems disappear, and not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because something deeper changes within her. That change happens when she truly understands that Allah is enough for her. When this realization settles into the heart, fear begins to lose its grip, insecurity fades, and loneliness no longer feels unbearable. Before this understanding, fear often comes from depending too much on what can be lost. Fear of losing people, fear of being alone, fear of the future, fear of not being enough. But when a woman places her trust completely in Allah, she realizes that the one who controls her life is also the one who protects her. And when Allah is in control, what is there to fear? When Allah becomes enough, a woman no longer feels shaken by uncertainty. She understands that the future is not something to panic over because it is written by the most merciful. She may not know what tomorrow holds, but she knows who holds tomorrow. That knowledge brings a deep sense of calm that nothing in this world can offer. Insecurity also begins to fade when Allah becomes the center of her life. She no longer measures herself by comparison, by attention, or by upper, oval. She no longer feels the need to compete or prove her worth. Her confidence comes from knowing that Allah created her intentionally, with purpose and with care. She understands that being enough does not come from perfection, but from sincerity and faith. Loneliness too loses its power. Even when she is physically alone, her heart does not feel empty. She finds companionship in prayer, comfort in remembrance, and peace in knowing that Allah is always near. She learns to sit with herself without fear because she knows she is never truly alone. Allah hears her thoughts, sees her struggles, and understands her pain in ways no human ever could. This kind of strength changes the way she moves through life. She no longer clings to people out of fear of abandonment. She loves without desperation and lets go without bitterness. She trusts that whatever leaves her life was never meant to stay, and whatever is meant for her will find its way to her at the right time. When Allah is enough, a woman becomes emotionally resilient. She still feels pain, but it does not break her. She still faces challenges, but they do not define her. She learns to rise after every fall, to hope after every disappointment, and to believe even when the path is unclear. Her heart becomes steady because it is anchored in faith. And perhaps the most beautiful change of all is this: she stops searching for peace in people and situations, and finds it within her connection to Allah. That peace does not depend on circumstances. It does not disappear when things go wrong. It stays with her in hardship and ease alike. When a woman reaches this level of trust, she realizes a powerful truth. Fear no longer rules her. Insecurity no longer controls her. And loneliness no longer defines her. Because when Allah is enough, the heart is finally at rest. And so, my dear sisters, when everything is and done, the journey always leads back to one truth. A woman's greatest strength is not found in what she owns, who stands beside her, or how the world sees her. Her true strength is found in her connection with Allah. When she learns to rely on Him, she no longer fears losing people. When worldly support fades, she discovers that divine support was always there. When society tries to define her worth, she remembers that her value was written by Allah long before anyone had an opinion. When trials come, she understands they are not punishments, but invitations to grow closer to Him. And when fear, insecurity, or loneliness try to take over, she finds peace in knowing that Allah is enough. This is the kind of strength that cannot be shaken. It does not fade with time. It does not depend on circumstances. It does not break under pressure. It is the strength of a heart that trusts Allah completely. So walk forward with confidence. Hold your head high. Place your worries in His hands and your heart in His care. Let your faith be stronger than your fear, your trust deeper than your doubts, and your reliance firmer than anything this world can offer. Because when a woman has Allah, she has everything she needs. And when she truly realizes this, she becomes unstoppable. Not because she controls life, but because she trusts the one who does. Thank you, everyone.